Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man, at your services. How are you all? Hope you're doing very, very well. As you can see, I've got some more friends along. Look, now, observant amongst you will know that there's a common thread running throughout all these characters here. And who have we got? Who have we got? We've got Nate from Creepshow. We've got Bub from Day of the Dead. We've got Fluffy from Creepshow. We've got Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. We've got Flyboy Stephen from Dawn of the Dead. Now, what connects all these disparate characters apart from a hideous face? Yes, Tom Savini, the Guru of Gore, the Sultan of Slaughter, the Master of Splatter, Tom Savini, the creator and pioneer of so many revolutionary gore effects in so many of our favourite genre movies. Yes, he created all these makeup designs. Now, news broke at the weekend that poor old Tom Savini is okay. So don't go thinking, don't race ahead now. And that could be part of the problem, because Tom Savini, age 74, who was about to go to a horror and tattoo convention in Nashville, where he would be a guest speaker, and he's a wonderful raconteur at conventions. He's full of anecdotes and stories, and he's just a fascinating guy. And he was riding his bicycle, not all the way to Nashville, but he was just out riding his bike when he had a collision with an oncoming car. Oh dear. Now, he is in hospital. He's praised the paramedics and the police, Pittsburgh police, and for their quick response. And he said to all my amazing fans, I'm sorry I can't make it to the convention, but please, I need time to rest and heal. Of course he does. But this is Tom Savini. Tom Savini, a veteran of Vietnam. He was a combat photographer in Vietnam, so he saw carnage up close and personal. He's also studied forensics and pathology and all that, so he knows the inner workings of the body. Nothing that happened to him during this accident is going to be any kind of revelation to him. And tubes and blood and bones and wreckage, anatomical wreckage, it's all, look, let's be honest, he now looks like one of his own makeup designs. But he said, with a nice little sort of twinkle in his eye and a tongue in his cheek, he said, have you ever shoulder blocked an oncoming car and then shattered its windscreen with your head? Because that's exactly what he did. Now, the pictures, he's tweeted pictures to say that, look, I'm okay, I'm going to get over this, but just obviously I can't make this. But a 74-year-old guy who's still working strong, still doing lots of things. He runs the Tom Savini Makeup Effects program at the Douglas Education Centre in Monessen, however you pronounce it. And that's been quite successful for quite a number of years now. So, the guy is still a major mover and shaker. Stuntman, makeup effects guy, actor, writer, director, and all-round great character. And a prime instigator and, pioneer and revolutionary within our genre. With all facets of it, creating the films, starring in the films, and doing the effects of the films that we know and love. And he's still going strong. He's still trying to get his remake of Nightmare City off the ground, which he's going to be starring in. And he'll be doing the effects, I think. But is that really going to happen? That's been mooted for quite a long time now, and I don't think it's going to suffer a setback now, isn't it? But anyway, we wish him well. And not that he's going to be watching this, of course, as if Kilt-Man over in Wallasey, Merseyside has any kind of figuring in his world plan for gory domination. But I just thought we need to address this, and it's a great opportunity. If you can salvage something out of an icky situation for the poor guy, then at least we can give him some praise and credit. I've discussed his work because I've reviewed all these masks in depth. If you go back through the channel, you'll find all these masks absolutely in depth, where I talk about the film and the makeup design and exactly what Tom Savini came up with, and the masks themselves, obviously. They're all there, so go back and find them if you feel so inclined. But I've discussed Tom Savini a lot, but I think now is a good opportunity to wish him well, and also to discuss some of his, what he's done, what this guy's done. 74 years old, Pittsburgh, born and bred, never moved out of Pittsburgh, loves it, loves the place, loves it. But sex machine from dusk till dawn, he's got his groin gun, you know. And his hand gets bitten, so it becomes vampiric, and he's trying to hide it from everyone else. Yeah, I'm alright. He's also an acclaimed stuntman. He did a lot of stunts for the early days of George Romero. Stunts in films like Martin, Knight Riders, Dawn of the Dead, obviously. I mean, Dawn of the Dead, he also played Blades, who's one of the motorcycle raiders who invade the Monroeville shopping mall in the last segment of the movie, the classic Bloodbath, and one of the most insanely outrageous battles you're ever going to see on film. You know, bikers, a SWAT team man, a flyboy, zombies, custard pies. What? Only Romero, at the height of his game, could come up with that. But he plays Blades, and Blades gets knocked off the back of someone's bike. He's got swords and knives, hence his name, Blades. And this zombie, this hapless zombie who just inadvertently knocked him off the bike, say goodbye, creep, with a machete in the head. So Tom Savini would get scripts, and the directors, George Romero, would say, look, I want an exploding head here, I want this, I want that. Tom Savini would also come up with, like, how about this kind of gag? Maybe we could use this here. So he'd be very, collaborative on these projects. But the script, like, I need this, how am I going to do this? Tom Savini would never say, look, well, that can't be done, can't do it. He'd always say, I'll figure it out, I'll find a way of doing this. Now, when you watch those earlier movies, inevitably, effects work has moved on, and certainly the blood colouring has moved on quite a bit. I'm looking at you, Dawn of the Dead, now. No faults of Tom Savini, of course, and the effects are still great, but effects have moved on, technology's moved on, and obviously the advent of CG and all that. Well, yeah, but I think I'm right in saying that most of us now still adore and revere practical effects, prosthetic effects, animatronics, real stuff that's happening in front of the camera and in front of the other cast members who are reacting to something that they can actually physically see and touch in front of them. Nothing can compare with that. No amount of CG, no amount of motion capture, no amount of, look at the golf ball up there, that's the guy's eyes, no. Real effects. And Tom Savini was a supremo. So he plays Blades, so he puts the machete into the head. But how are we going to do this? I want the machete to go in, and I want to see it wiggle around and blood to be spurting everywhere, and then the machete get pulled out. Oh, okay, I'll work that out. Well, okay. Well, obviously, when it's in the head for wiggly round, we'll do the old arrow in the head effect. We'll just cut out a portion of a fake blade, stick it on the guy's head, and we'll have blood tubing, spitting blood everywhere, and we'll wriggle it around as he struggles to get it out of the bust cranium and pulls it back out. But the pulling back out, of course, it's all shot in reverse. So it looks like it's gone in and then come out. And it's just a clever, look, we'll just do it in reverse. So I'm going to thud this in, but really it's actually coming out again. It's clever. Day of the Dead, he would have all the, again, machetes soaring through someone's arm, or the shovel going through a zombie's mouth to snip off the top of their head. This is a playlist of, I've not got all of his movies he's been involved in, but I've got a great many of them. But I've just thrown this together, so you're hearing Day of the Dead now. You've got to hear a few others. But his work, his character, his image on screen, Tom Savini, dark hair, swarthy dark skin, dark eyes, and the big tash. Sometimes a beard. But that look, he has a gypsy Romany look to him, which lends a real degree of the exotic, and it just gives him an extra vibe. To see him in leather gloves and leather jacket, which he often does tend to sport, and all his bling and all that, like, He reminds me a bit of Joe Pilato, the great Joseph Pilato, sadly now deceased, who played Rhodes, who I think is about to die soon in this piece of music. But so a renegade guy, I can imagine him in a rock band, but playing the drums, really, thrashing out on the drums. I don't know if he can play an instrument. I mean, with those fingers doing finite effects and prosthetics, making molds and applying little bits of animatronics or hydraulics or whatever to make things work. With that kind of finite degree, maybe he plays guitar. I don't know. Tom, let me know. But stuntman as well. So he would do in Dawn of the Dead, because everyone did multiple jobs on that movie, and he would be a stuntman as well. So the high dive, the blades get shot off the balcony, Tom. You've got, he gets hit by the truck, he's a zombie getting hit by the truck, and the blood's on the windscreen. Windscreen. You've got a thing for windscreens, haven't you, Tom? And but you see him stagger towards the truck, the zombie. If you slow it down, you can see it's Tom Savini, that. And then next cut, he's actually on the grillware, and he'll bounce off the grillware, hit the deck, and his body will be run over. But they wipe the blood from the windscreen with the wiper. He would also appear in that same sequence with the trucks. His assistant, the gorgeous blonde Jenny Jeffries, she plays the zombie that gets into the cab whilst Roger, the SWAT team guy, is trying to hotwire another rig. Peter sees this. Peter comes up. Roger, get its head up! Get its head up, man! Roger, get its head! And then finally he pushes it up like he's fighting this zombie, and her cheek blows out, peppers him with gore, and then he kicks the body out. But the body that comes out is not Jenny Jeffries, it's actually Tom Savini in hair gear, wearing a blonde wig, hitting the passenger side door and tumbling down between the two trucks. And many other stunts as well. But he would be the guy that would pioneer effects that look so real that people actually questioned, have you killed someone on screen? Friday the 13th, the arrow through the neck effect. That's Kevin Bacon, that's a young Kevin Bacon. And people genuinely thought he must have killed that kid. And it's just, but he's the guy that came up with the idea. Look, we'll have the real actor's head, like there, and then this is all fake from down here, so the arrow comes up. Like you'd see in The Burning, oh my god, the raft attack, where the guy's on the raft and the shears plunge down, and he goes, oh god, the finger snipping. I mean, this was the guy that did the gore. You saw his name attached to a movie and you were like, yes. But you also thought, oh please don't let the MPAA or the BBFC have cut this down. Please let's see it in all its gory glory. Eventually we'd always see that, apart from the Friday the 13th movies. And also, Night of the Living Dead, Tom Savini's own remake of Night of the Living Dead, George Romero's absolute bona fide classic, which totally created our idea of zombies, which is a really silly, stupid idea of zombies, if you're honest about it. Zombies are voodoo, and that these are flesh-eating cannibal things, who knows? But it's great, we love it. So he did his remake, and you're thinking, you can't remake a classic like that. Well, you could, and if someone could do it, a close friend, collaborator of George Romero, will know how to do this properly, and also bring it into the modern age with his gore effects that he didn't have back in the days when he made Night of the Living Dead. So, and the film that came out actually is really, really good. It's a clever twist on it, a couple of major elements, and this is Tom Savini's movie. He created this movie. This is his idea, his vision, and he did the effects as well, and directed it. It's his movie. And you've got Tony Todd, but at the end of it, where he's playing Ben, and he gets shot in the head. Well, he genuinely is a zombie, not his mistaken identity. And of course, the Judith O'Dea character is not just an apathetic, almost comatose, literally still living but zombified state, because she can't fight back, can't do anything. She's just in a state of shock throughout most of the movie. But in his remake, she's actually, what's her name? Patricia Tallman, I think it is. She is proactive. She's a bit of a Rambolina, a bit of a Ripley. She will fight back and goes through it with gusto. But his film, it suffered So no one has seen the uncut version. The film that got released eventually was very tame. If you wanted, this is a Tom Savini zombie movie, yeah, he's doing Night of the Living Dead, it's going to be gory as hell. No, it's not. There's some gore in it, but there certainly isn't much. And you're like, oh, come on. But he did film a very gory version, with bodies flying through the air, brains oozing out all over the camera, all sorts of gags and gore effects, but they were all taken out. And to this day, it has not surfaced. So, but God, we'd love that one. Tom, while you're lying there recovering and recuperating, please do think about getting all that together, because I know you've got the footage. Tom Savini always has when he's doing the gore effects for a movie, makeup effects for a movie. I want an uncensored, unrated version. When this film goes out, in my contract, I get the full uncut version. So he's got these films all fully uncut already. Good thinking there, Tom. Good thinking. But your effects, man. Of course you should have. But back to Tom and windscreens. Very, very notoriously, for Bill Lustig and Maniac, one of the most infamous slasher movies ever made. Highly controversial, highly troubling, and also amazingly good as well. Joe Spinell, Caroline Munro. There is a sequence in that. I mean, amidst all the throat slittings and the scalpings and the mutilations, which are hideously watched, lingered on with the camera, Bill Lustig's camera, and Savini's awesome gore effects. Lots of blood tubing and scenes that go on for longer than, certainly at that time in cinema, you think, oh God, no. Did they really scalp that girl? It looks real. No, they didn't. And but there's a sequence where Tom Savini, again being the actor, picks up a girl in a discotheque and in New York, and they go and sit under a bridge in the back of his car, and they're going to make out. But Joe Spinell's Maniac has followed them, and he's got a 12 gauge double-barreled shotgun. He leaps up onto the bonnet, or for those of you in America, the hood of the car, and he fires through the windscreen, and he blows apart Tom Savini's head. Tom Savini's doing the effects for this movie. He's acting in this movie. He also plays the guy that leaps up on the bonnet hood of the car and fires the double-barreled shotgun at his own head. Now, this is a great sequence. Tom Savini, as I say, a veteran in Vietnam, combat photographer, studied forensics, seen bodies, studied burn victims for the burning, discovered how burn victims really do look and not how they'd looked in other movies up until that point. And he said, despite how many people I've killed on camera, on screen, and usually, oftentimes, it's him putting the axe into Cropsey's head at the end of the burning. It's him thrusting the arrow up through Kevin Bacon's neck, chest. It's him doing lots of the things, blowing heads apart and whatever. So in this particular sequence, he said, like, this is the closest I've ever come to feeling like I've actually killed somebody, and that somebody happened to be me. He's blowing his own head off. Now in New York at this time, and I don't know what the laws are now, but certainly Tom Savini does say that they could not discharge a firearm legally. So with friends on the inside, on the force, who were standing by, and he filmed it under a bridge late at night, and the idea was, look, right, you leap up on the hood, you blow the brains apart, we film it, several cameras, you get off the bonnet, you give the gun to this policeman here, and you put it in a car and drive it away. Make sure the film has been okay, make sure the effect looks like where you want it, then you get in a car and you drive away, and in 5 minutes flat we're going to clear this entire scene so it looks like nothing's ever happened. So he said he felt like an assassin. Now that does sound really grim, doesn't it? I mean, it's illegal to have done it, but it's all on bloody film anyway, in a film that's already massively notorious and caused a complete sensation at its time, with people picketing the cinemas showing it, and a huge women's movement backlash against it. And I understand all that, and I think Tom does as well. Tom did not like, he was the makeup advisor on Scavellini's Nightmares and Damaged Brain. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy with that one, especially from Tom's point of view. The credit there, he doesn't really want that credit and all that, and that was a very misogynistic, horrible movie as well. But anyway, but that effect is brilliant. The dummy used is Boris. Boris was a dummy he made for Dawn of the Dead in the infamous SWAT team attack on the ghetto building, where Wooly's gone apeshit, man. The SWAT team guy's gone completely, he's already racist anyway, but he's gone redneck, gun-toting maniac. See the connection there? Maniac, guns. So, and he kicks a door down to an apartment, and there's a dummy standing there with a face going with lots of hair to try and obscure the rather hastily put together face. And he blows his head apart in a great flash cut in the movie. Apple cores and blood and condoms filled with gore and calf brains go flying everywhere. But that dummy, that body was called Boris. And Boris would also be the dummy which in Dawn of the Dead, later in Dawn of the Dead, where Tom plays the guy, hits the front of the truck and then body gets run over. Well, Boris would play a lot of the bodies that get run over throughout that sequence. But in this movie, in Maniac, Boris, already a bit dishevelled by this stage, is sitting there in the driver's seat of the car, and Tom Savini's fake head is applied to that with lots of grips to the torso, so that when the real double-barreled 12-gauge shotgun is unleashed through the wind, through a real windscreen, boom! That head will just go, but it will also pull the body up so that it looks realistically thrown back by the impact. So Tom trains for a couple of minutes beforehand with an empty shotgun to pull both triggers to make sure he can do it. Right, okay, right. Put the cartridges in, right. And action. So dressed up as Joe Spinell, he leaps up on the hood of the car. And it's filmed in slow motion as well when you see it, and it's really effectively done. He leans in and you see Tom's face going and then boom, windscreen shatters, head just goes up, but we see the horrible aftermath of it all over the back seat of the car and the backrest, and just brains and giblets are everywhere. It's horrendous. In reality, the recoil of that shotgun, and I've fired shotguns, folks. I dislocated the shoulder firing a shotgun off I was sitting on top of a 20-foot wall down at Liso Castle, and me and my old man, Big Kilt Papa, were hired to take out wood pigeons and foxes, which were laying waste to all the market gardens there. To this day, I regret any involvement I had in hunting. I do. I've said this before, but I know what it feels like to have a shotgun, a powerful shotgun. Throwback. I was knocked off the wall and my shoulder was dislocated. Ouch. Ouch. No windscreens involved though, but I didn't hit anything either. I missed the fox, thankfully. But Tom Savini, boom, recoil, blows him back off the bonnet of the car, the hood. But a grip is waiting there for him, because they've said, the cops have said, like, look, that when it does fire, that's going to send you back, especially in your crouching position on a precarious surface. So a grip was waiting there, caught him. Right, they threw the gun to a copper, gets in the car, drives off. Tom Savini runs round, makes the effect looks okay, the cameras have all caught that. Right, he gets another car, drives off, and then straight away everything is dismantled and removed. And he said, like, that car was trashed along with Boris the dummy. He does say it went in the bottom of a river somewhere, but I don't know if that's true or not. Like, but it sounds good, doesn't it? Cheers, Tom. Loving your work. So yeah. But like many effects guys, Tom Savini would go through that phase where, look, like Rick Baker, Rob Bottin, many of these guys would go, Carl Fullerton, Tom Berman, they got pigeonholed into gore effects, splatter. Splatter is all that mattered during this phase. And I love the fact that a lot of them did return to it again and would do other gore effects, but they kind of went on to, like, I want to do character makeups, I want to do monsters, I want to create completely otherworldly creatures and things. I don't just want to do rips and slashes and heads blowing up and all that. I don't just want to do that. Now, but Tom Savini also brilliantly still loves the gore, and he was still working, and he will again. As I say, Nightmare City, he fully intends to get that off the ground, although it has taken a bit of time to sort of get this done. And you know, that's a remake of the 80s Italian splatter movie. It's just a zombie movie again, but with Tom behind it. Tom helming it. I'm pretty certain the majority of effects that you see are going to be practical, I would hope. But you could obviously bring in some CG into it as well. Tom appeared, of course, in the remake of Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead. He's in Planet Terror, awesome stuff. Obviously, From Dusk Till Dawn. He's in the From Dusk Till Dawn TV show as well. He's been in many, many movies. And as I say, he's a great personality, a great character. I always, despite what he's known for slaying people left, right and centre, when you see him on screen or you see his name appear, there's a warm glow. And these days that's usually because of the amount of whiskey I'm throwing down my neck. But there's always a warm, nostalgic glow. I feel at home with a Tom Savini movie. Even a film such as, say, Invasion USA or Red Scorpion, where most of the effects really aren't even there, or they're just minimal effects. There's not a lot of gore in these movies, and they were trimmed down. But even so, just seeing his name, he was involved with this, it makes it better. Even though, like, Invasion USA was Chuck Norris and Richard Lynch, come on now! But Savini was involved in it too. Awesome. So, you know, you can't go wrong. And these character designs, Fluffy is amazing. The Leatherface for Texas Chainsaw 2 with all the bits of faces attached to it, incorporated into its design. It's just fantastic. Bub is outstanding. The gore. Oh. As I say, Sam Peckinpah was the guy that brought The Exit Wound into cinema. And he's always said that the reason why he did that and he intercut these graphic scenes of mayhem with slow motion was because when he was in Korea, he saw a guy getting shot, and he said it was the longest split second he'd ever experienced. And when you watch his films, you know exactly what they mean. If you've ever been fired at, if you ever had a bullet ricochet anywhere near you, if you've ever seen people running into fire, you'll know exactly what he's getting at. And his films, this is Sam Peckinpah now, really nails that moment. Ridley Scott nailed hyperkinetic, real-time violence and bullets, ballistics, and explosives with Black Hawk Down. But the actual death, the striking of a bullet hitting human body and its effect on you when you first see it, that was absolutely what he brought into his films like The Wild Bunch. You know, and so he brought The Exit Wound in. A bullet would hit, blood, but you'd see the bullet come out the back. Well, you'd see blood come out the back. The bloody baton was passed on to Tom Savini. Tom Savini then, well, I can slit a throat on camera. I can scalp somebody. I can blow someone's head apart. I can do this. I can snip someone's fingers off with shears, which is actually what you're hearing right now. This is from The Burning. Cropsy, the Maniac. Yeah, but he was awesome at doing this. Any kind of gore effect, he could come up with a way of getting that on camera, pumping the gore out and making it look like that's an incision, that's gone in. Ouch! You would marvel at it as well. I mean, Friday the 13th and Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, which is the one, again, machetes involved in it, where Jason falls onto the machete and gets it lodged in his head, and then falls down like that, and his jaw goes. It's just genius. He also gets his hand done in as well, like, but absolutely adore the full-blooded approach that Savini took. Love the fact that he's in the movies. Love the fact that he applied himself to stunt work as well. You've done your own stunt there in real life, mate. Please, I wish you a speedy recovery. We all do. Your children here are wishing you all the best. Tom, I salute you. And I really do want to see your version of Nightmare City. In fact, I want to be in it. You want to make me up as a zombie? Kilt-Man is here. I'll do it, sir. I'll do it. I'll send you some grapes over, because that's what you do, hospital visits. But anyway, please make a very speedy recovery and get back to doing what we all know and love. And that is stuntman, makeup effects, directing, writing, appearing in person. You're the full package, sir. Please come back soon. Wish you all the best. Folks, I have been and always shall be smitten with slaughter. Kilt-Man, we'll see you. Roger, get its head up, man. Get its head up.